Good morning and welcome to Sports World. Well, the Commonwealth Games have come and gone, with Australian athletes arriving home with yet another record haul of medals. Now, whilst the English team didn't quite make the impression on the medal tally it was hoping, the Indians certainly did, taking their gold medal haul from 7 in Kuala Lumpur to 32 in Manchester. Well, one man who can tell us all about the Indians is dual Commonwealth Games silver medalist, Australian sharpshooter Russell Mark. Welcome, Russell.
Yeah, how are you, Joe? I certainly can tell you a little bit about it. I watched 15 Indians win gold medals at the shooting range. But yeah, it's great to be back filling in for Fish this week.
And I have to say congratulations for both your silvers. It was exciting.
Yeah, it was. It was close. Beaten in virtually a count-back situation for the team gold medal, and shot the highest losing score in history to win the individual gold medal. Well, to lose the individual gold medal, I should say. But yeah, it was a good Commonwealth Games for the team, and particularly, as you said, the Indian team have proved they will be a force to be reckoned with in 2006.
And you look straight to the World Cup?
World Cup on Wednesday in the Dominican Republic. Globe-trotting at the moment. I don't even think I'll get over the jet lag from this last trip before I have to go again.
That's all right, at least we got you for today. Well, speaking of shooting, coming up on this morning show, we meet a gun-slinging Californian with a taste for gold and a more questionable taste for Ballarat boys. Skeet star Lauren Ogilvie joins us. With the Melbourne Spring Racing Carnival looming on the horizon, we talk to one of the superstars of the Australasian turf. Back in Melbourne on a flying visit from the high stakes of Hong Kong racing, Super Hoop Shane Dye joins us. Now, Colin Scott was the first Australian ever to be drafted into the American NFL. Later in the show, he'll be in the studio to tell us all about football, pro wrestling and his meeting with Bill Clinton. The bizarre circus that is professional wrestling rolled into Melbourne this weekend for the Global Warning Tour. Now, SportsWorld's Adam Peacock will give you a first look at last night's sellout extravaganza. And stick around as our very own Paul, the Fishman Salmon, flashes his pecs and steps into the ring and speaks with the bad boy of pro wrestling, Brock Lesnar. Now, that's sports entertainment. But before all that, it's across to Kylie Gillies at the SportsWorld News Desk. Morning, Kylie.
Morning, Joe, and good morning, everyone. We begin with AFL, where Brisbane was aiming for their 15th win of the season against the Western Bulldogs last night. Nigel Lappin returned for the Lions after a 6-week injury layoff, and the signs looked ominous for the Bulldogs.
Minus their two key forwards, Brisbane were facing a tough challenge hosting the informed Bulldogs at home. Returning after 7 weeks, it was Lappin giving his side the start they wanted.
Here's a good way to come back to AFL football, Lappin!
The Bulldogs are applying quickly and letting the Lions know they had a game on their hands. But the Brisbane runners were well on top.
Dishes out to McRae. He loves these. McRae goals.
The game breaking open in the second half. Leppage on fire, the Lions winning with ease.
So he goes for home. Magnificent.
While in Sydney, the Kangaroos, playing their last home game in New South Wales, were on the board after 28 seconds.
Quick snap. He's kicked a goal.
The Swans gaining control, but some trademark hardness from Archer inspiring his side, Sinclair showing a touch of class.
That's some kick. I think he's kicked a goal. He has.
With the Kangaroos losing their skipper, Archer took it upon himself to be a leader. But it all went belly up, and they couldn't contain the fast finishing Swans. Leo Barry, just unbelievable.
So checking those scores in Sydney, stunning the Roos in a final quarter demolition. The Lions easily outclassed the Bulldogs by 38 points. Port Adelaide escaped with a narrow win over Carlton in windy conditions, while Richmond downed the Dockers. Looking at the ladder, and those Lions are still leading on percentage ahead of Port Adelaide, with both teams on 60 points. West Coast, Geelong, the Kangaroos and Hawthorn are all tied on 40. Essendon leads the bottom half charge, while the Demons and the Bulldogs are in close pursuit. Moving on to the NRL, where last night the Bulldogs travelled to New Zealand aiming for their 18th straight victory. But with several players missing through injury, they were vulnerable against a hungry Warriors outfit.
For 17 rounds, no team has been able to produce the form to banish the Bulldogs. But last night, the Warriors were confident they were the team that could end the Doggies' unbeaten run. New Zealand responded to an early try from the Bulldogs' Nigel Vungana, scoring 22 unanswered points. The defence from the Warriors was exceptional for most of the match, keeping the blue and white out on so many occasions. Nigel Vungana vented his frustration and went on report.
Vungana giving it to him. High tackle is the call.
2 late tries to the Bulldogs were merely consolations as the Warriors firmed as major contenders for this year's premiership title. The Eels restored their confidence with the 54-0 thrashing of South Sydney. It was their first win since round 13 and an excellent preparation ahead of next week's local derby clash with the Bulldogs.
They go the length of the field. That is vintage Parramatta.
Yeah, what a victory it was for the Eels, their biggest win ever against South Sydney and their first after a 2-month drought. Unfortunately for the Bulldogs, their unbeaten run ended on 17 straight in front of 21,000 Warriors fans, while earlier Melbourne boosted their title hopes with a 10-point win over the Cowboys. On the ladder, the Bulldogs still reign supreme with 4 rounds remaining until the finals. The Broncos are in second place on 35 points, with the Warriors only 1 behind. The Knights, all Sharks, can jump up a spot when they clash today at Toyota Park. The Eagles and the Dragons also meet today, with both teams anxious to crack into the top 8. The Raiders play the Tigers in Canberra. Rugby union now, and last night's Tri-Nations match between South Africa and New Zealand turned into a nightmare for Irish referee David McHugh. Scores were locked at 17-all in the second half when the South African fan interrupted play.
The Springboks. This is dreadful. This is dreadful. A spectator has come on and attacked the referee, David McHugh.
This is a shocker.
That is a shocker. Unbelievable.
McHugh was forced off with a dislocated shoulder and his attacker was arrested. The Springboks eventually lost the game, scoring only 2 tries to the All Blacks 3, plus a New Zealand penalty try to Leon McDonald. So the final score, New Zealand winning 30 points to 23, leaving the Springboks winless from 3 matches. Now, the all-important ladder looks like this. New Zealand are now 5 points clear of Australia at the top of the Tri-Nations table. The Aussies must beat the Springboks in South Africa next week and earn a bonus point to win the tournament. The first round of the English Premier League season is only a week away, and last night Manchester United warmed up with a friendly charity match against Argentina's Boca Juniors. There were 56,000 fans at the match, organised to raise funds for UNICEF, and the organisation's goodwill ambassador Sir Roger Moore made an appearance. United were superior on the pitch, winning 2-0, but there are fears that their biggest new season signing, Rio Ferdinand, may miss the next few weeks after injuring his ankle. Tonight, Arsenal and Liverpool clash in the FA Community Shield. On to golf now, and Kari Webb has slipped down the leaderboard and is currently in a tie for 5th after the 3rd round of the Women's British Open. Jennifer Rosales tied the course record, posting a 7-under par 65 that's moved her into a tie for the lead with Karen Koch at 12 under par. The remainder of the players will tee off shortly. Meanwhile, in the US on the men's tour, Tiger Woods has held on to the lead in the 3rd round of the Buick Open in Michigan. The world #1 overcame a double bogey start to salvage a 1-stroke buffer ahead of Mexico's Esteban Toledo. John Senden shot a 71 to be the best placed of the Australians. And in the second cricket test between England and India, Michael Vaughan has hit a massive 197 off 258 balls overnight to put England in the box seat. England is 5 for 341 in its first innings at stumps on day 3, not far behind India's total of 357. That's all the news to the minute. Don't forget Sports Watch with Bruce McAvaney for regular updates throughout the afternoon. Now, though, it's time for Adam Peacock's Week That Was.
As the Northern Hemisphere gets closer to the end of summer, we get closer to watching how much pain gridiron players can put each other through, all in the name of glory. But this week in Ohio, it was the fans' turn for a bit of adulation. This mob has one fanatical supporter from each of the NFL's 32 teams. This guy's a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Good on him, but hasn't he taken it a bit too far?
How do you think the Eagles are going to do this year?
Baseball, where the fans don't throw things at umpires, they just watch players use them as speed humps. They can also watch fielders make simple situations extremely hard for themselves. The best finish of the week was on the US PGA Tour. Steve Lowry never has, nor probably never will challenge the greats of golf. But few can claim to have a 5-hole stretch like he did. On 14, he went from the water to the green and one putt for a birdie. Then, with his second on the 15th...
It's a difficult angle. He has to be absolutely perfect. And it is. Brilliant shot.
16th he bogeyed. Charge over? No. This, his second at the par 5 17th. He needed a birdie on 18 to win it, but could only manage a boring old par.
Hung it on the left.
And as if jumping out of a plane wasn't hard enough, try throwing in a few somersaults, then try landing on a pontoon the size of half a tennis court. Some couldn't do it. Some could.
Life on the hedge. Talent, tough tools.
If you don't feel 100%, maybe you're not getting all the fresh food you need for a healthy diet. Centrum vitamin and mineral supplement can help. It's even used by the Australian Institute of Sport. Centrum and new Centrum for kids, complete from A to Zinc. Do you feel 100%?
Take a look. It's got a CD player, electric windows and mirrors, power steering, 2 airbags, immobiliser.
The Bronze Synchro. A close shave, a self-cleaning shaver.
G'day, Sydney here. Super Sydney is having a red-hot go with a red-hot sale on a huge range of leather lounges, like the Kelly Suite, a 3-seater and 2-seater only $15.99, or the Edward 3-seater and 2 recliners $19.99, the Karen Corner Suite, seat 6 only $19.99, or the Lithgow Recliner Suite, pure luxury at $29.99. Sydney Lounges and Bedding red-hot sale, and still pay only $10 deposit with 1, 2 or 3 years to pay.
Nobody beats Super Sydney.
Yeah, I know what I look forward to. I look forward to old age. I never thought I would, but I never thought I'd have one.
I look forward to taking my shoes off. I actually do.
I look forward to the day when the world leaders think like a Melbourne housewife.
I look forward to Sundays, sleeping in.
Starting a family.
I look forward to lighting a large fire and burning a purple wig.
I look forward to grandchildren. More grandchildren.
I look forward to summer holidays with my 4 children.
Maybe great-grandchildren.
I look forward to a global effort to ease human suffering and to take care of this planet.
Each week on the program, we look at some of sport's burning issues with Australia's leading scribes. It's good morning to the Australians' Patrick Smith and fresh off a plane from Manchester, the Sydney Morning Herald's Roy Masters. Good morning to you both.
Thank you, Jo.
Lovely to have you back here after a little spell. Well, our topic this morning stems from Manchester. Now, during the week, the man sitting next to me, Russell Mark, was accused of bad sportsmanship when he made the front page of his hometown newspaper, the Ballarat Courier. Russell, when referring to the Indian shooter who had just defeated him, was quoted as saying that John Wayne didn't take care of them all. He left a couple to breed, and look what happens. My question is, did Russell racially vilify his opponent? Did he trivialise the serious issue of racism, or are we, the media, just becoming far too politically correct? Now, Russell, first of all, can you put into context where and when those quotes were made?
Well, Joe, I can't deny that I did say it. I did. No doubt. It's a comment that I said. If I said it once, I would have said it 50 times. What the Ballarat Courier don't understand is that all of these competitors that we are competing with throughout the year, all around the world, are good friends. And if you call it sledging, I suppose, we all sledge each other. They do it just as hard back to us. And I just take offence to the Ballarat Courier referring that I'm a racist, because, you know, I'm a lot of things. I might have a big mouth, I might have a sarcastic wit, but I don't see myself as racist. Not one person complained about that comment. Certainly Singh and Khan, the two Indians that have beaten me earlier in the week in the team's event and the individual event, we joked about it right up until the time that I actually said that.
Just explain shooting, because you're not actually allowed to speak once you go into the competition area, but prior to that you can speak as much as...
Oh, and we all do. We all joke with each other right up until the time the referee says you're now in competition, then you can't speak, and none of us do. But the moment the last shot is fired, we all have a laugh and a joke amongst ourselves and then go and have a beer with each other.
Well, if you're not a racist, were you silly?
It was probably stupid to say it when a camera was rolling, because I can see if someone just took the transcript of what I said without actually seeing how it was spoken or hearing how it was spoken, they could say that you're a racist. But certainly there's more to this issue. The reporter who actually wrote the article called me up from Ballarat when I was in Manchester and said, was there anything further that come of your comment about the Indians? And I said, no, why should there be? And there was nothing more.
Were you being politically incorrect or geographically incorrect? I mean, who were you vilifying here? North American natives? Were you subcontinental Indians, or were you vilifying John Wayne for missing a field?
Well, I mean, that's it. I mean, the editor of the Courier needs to wake up to himself and get a sense of humour. John Wayne, as far as I know, never went to Calcutta in his career ever. And let's face it...
Did the Indians at any stage say you were the son of a convict or something like that?
Many times.
And was that reported in an Indian paper?
No, they probably say a lot worse things to me than that.
But that's not vilification, though, Ron.
What? I mean, it is vilification if you call the Scots tight. I think we've just gone totally pious in this whole thing.
I mean, there's sledging and there's vilification. Now, Russell stands condemned by the Ballarat Courier for vilification, not sledging.
Well, isn't racism only if somebody gets offended? Or isn't it only when the person that you're saying it gets offended? I mean, what actually is...
Who actually got offended? Because so far, no one in the Commonwealth Games team has actually said anything to me about it. None of the officials. No one in the media outside of the Ballarat Courier has even brought it up. It was reported in an AAP article. But they keep relating it back, unfortunately, Patrick, to my time in the Liberal Party, and then there becomes a hidden agenda with all of this. 2 days later, there was an editorial in the Ballarat Courier relating my comments to my time in the Liberal Party. I'm a bit sick of people drawing a bow like that, and I don't think I deserve that either.
But are we becoming too politically correct in the media? I personally think that we are. I think that we've lost our sense of humour. I think that vilification, in this case, political incorrectness, only applies when we entrench negative views about people. And I don't believe it's the case here.
But, I mean, you say the media's too politically correct, but it's only one paper that's done this.
Oh, no.
The rest of the media...
The Leighton situation when he presented a cigar after winning Wimbledon, suddenly the media are in contact with the anti-smokers group. I mean, and then it becomes a story in itself. That's taking...
The funny part about
we're talking, Roy, we're talking about one specific issue, and this issue is only one media outlet said anything about this with...
Well, now we're talking about it, but there was another issue, so I'd like to hear your opinion on that. Essendon coach Kevin Sheedy found himself facing similar accusations this week after it was revealed he took part in an Aboriginal dance while covered in tribal markings during a testimonial night for former bomber Michael Long. Now, this is a separate incident, but do you think this is trivialising racism?
Well, I think that with Kevin Sheedy, nobody in football in this nation has done more to advance Aboriginal cause, particularly with respect of upward social mobility and using football as a vehicle for this, and I think we can cut him a certain amount of slack, even if he might have offended some Aboriginal groups here in Victoria.
You agree with that?
Oh, yes. I mean, I think that was a celebration of Aboriginality and a celebration of Michael Long and where he came from, because Michael Long was involved with it, Dean Rioli was involved with it. That was a celebration of Aboriginality.
And they clearly accepted it. They
Absolutely.
clearly thought...
As your Indian opponents.
Well, and as one thing with me that hasn't been noted yet is my great-grandmother was born and bred in Calcutta. Does that make it okay for me to comment there?
Can I call you a curry muncher?
And I won't take offence to it.
Let's move on to a completely different issue.
Another issue.
That's another one. But pitch invasions last night with the Tri-Nations, once again we've got it on the screen now, a punter from the crowd coming on and actually tackling the referee, Dave McHugh, who actually had to leave the field with a dislocated shoulder. And this is happening more and more frequently.
Well, we've seen it in Wimbledon, we saw it at Manchester, we saw it in the Bledisloe Cup, in AFL there's a flare going out on the field. I want to know what those big fat blokes with moustaches and orange shirts are doing. I'm talking about their security, and now here I've been politically incorrect when I've used the word fat. I should be saying men of people of substance, which has a totally different meaning altogether. But, you know, we've got to ask ourselves questions about the degree of high-priced security at international sporting contests.
Are we getting to the stage, Patrick, where we need a fence and a moat around our football and rugby stadiums?
Well, Russell, I think that there's so much money coming into sport now. The more money that comes into it, I think you'll be fine. The more money that comes in, the bigger the fence we'll have to build. Sadly, I think that's right, because people's value systems fall away when there's money in sport.
Okay, well, I think we've managed to touch on a few issues this morning and offend every minority group here in Australia and abroad. Thank you both to Roy and Patrick, appreciate it. Still to come on SportsWorld, Australia's golden girl of shooting, Lauren Ogilvie, champion jockey Shane Dye and gridiron pioneer Colin Scott. Also, Adam Peacock ventures into Colonial Stadium for the WWE Global Warning Tour. And SportsWorld's very own wrestling icon, the Flying Fishman, steps in the square circle with WWE bad boy Brock Lesnar.
Bread driving your kids crazy. Aggro, headaches, even bedwetting.
I think this is a story that needs to be told.
The shock new study proving the link. Plus, paid to run away from loving homes.
It's deprivation of liberty, kidnap.
Government handouts tearing families apart. They even charged this desperate mum with kidnapping. And dream weddings on a budget.
That was our main aim, and we did it.
6:30 on 7's Today Tonight.
Being a signwriter, I get to see how a lot of businesses work. And so many of them aren't taking advantage of today's technology. Look at this. I'm hooked up to the internet with Telstra Broadband. It's much faster than regular dial-up services. So now I can email large files to clients instantly. It's cheaper than couriers. Now my business is growing faster as well.
Attention pool buyers, there's never been a better time to buy a pool. Laserway are Victoria's favourite pool company and offer unbeatable value guaranteed. For instance, a 9-metre concrete pool including beach area, smooth quartz-on finish and gas or solar heating. Call now and at no extra cost, you'll get a fabulous bubbling heated spa all for only $17,990. Hurry, phone Laserway now on 9763 2975.
Hi, I'm Bob Thorne, Managing Director of Super Cheap Auto, and if you can find any one of the 10,000 items we stock for less, we'll beat that price.
You'll get the lot for less.
The Super Tough Enforcer range is super light on your pocket with Enforcer seat covers just $49.99. Or Enforcer car mats just $29.99. Enforcer steering wheel covers are tiny $9.99 and Garubi Enforcer seatbelt pads $12.99.
You'll get the lot for less.
Guys, keep the checkouts tidy.
Open 364 days a year.
Yes, we are.
What a photo finish. Let's take it back to the race start.
And they're off. It's Penny and Tom in the lead.
What are you doing here? I thought you were investing this year. Yes, we are.
Let's freeze it down. What great form. They've set up a cash management call account earning a winning 4.4% per annum until October 31 with immediate access to their cash. Conditions apply. You bet they didn't see that coming. They should call 13221.
And well backed.
Which bank helps you score more with your investments? Make it happen.
Every superhero needs a distinctive outfit and special powers. And since laser rings or invisibility are hard to come by, I've had to find a way to control time. My new Panasonic DVD recorder has incredible powers, which allow me to simultaneously play and record on the same DVD. And I can change the past by editing what I've recorded. This is ideal, because once my outfit's ready, I'm going to be really, really busy. Yellow, Mum. I said a yellow cape.
Round 19 of footy is well underway, and Patrick Smith and Russell are still with me. Good to have you here, fellas, again. And while Paul Salmon is on assignment with the Bombers in Adelaide, we'll bag him. No, we won't. Well, welcome to Sports World, former Swan and Sports Watch regular Dale Lewis. Lovely to have you here, Dale.
Great to be here, Joe. Just sporting my summer haircut. Just a little bit earlier this year, though.
7 letters in. Our guest this morning was drafted to Hawthorn as a third pick in the 1997 National Draft. Now, after 84 matches with the Hawks, he found himself on a plane to join Fremantle at the end of last season. Trent Code, welcome to Sports World.
Good morning.
Unfortunately, it was a bit disappointing for the Dockers yesterday going down to the Tigers, but the question's being asked, how come you can't win away from home?
Yeah, I only wish I knew. If I had the answer, I'd be applying it each week. But yeah, it's very disappointing yesterday. But there's always next week.
Is it just a matter of winning one match and then everything will change? Do you think, Trent?
I think once we do win that match, it might just start something because we're winning all our home games at the moment. If we can put together a couple away, well, you know, it would be a better chance for the finals.
Have you noticed anything different though? Your career here at Hawthorn, then going to Fremantle, and then having to travel, has it occurred to you, oh, well, this is a different environment or something different is happening?
Yeah, well, it's huge. If you look at it this year, you know, I've done Sydney, Brisbane, Launceston, Canberra. I actually go on the Canberra trip, but you're travelling 3 or 4 hours every second weekend, and it does build up. It hit me about round 15, and yeah, but I've got to learn to deal with it. I'm there for the next 4 years.
That would mean you'd have sensational frequent flyer points and be going somewhere awesome for the footy trip.
Yeah, that's for sure. You've just got to keep building them.
I just want travelled well. What do the Hawks do differently than Fremantle?
Not too much. I think it's just the fact that you're not travelling 4 hours or 3 hours each time. If you're doing an Adelaide, it's an hour or half an hour, or Sydney, it's a lot shorter than going from Perth to those areas.
Is it a crutch? West Coast won 2 premierships playing out of Perth.
Yeah, that just shows how great they are. That was a fantastic team, and well, maybe we should find out what they did.
Can I get on that? Just when do you come over? Do you come over Fridays or?
We've got a new kind of philosophy thing now. We come over 2 days before. So if I'm playing on Saturday, I'll come over on Thursday. And Chris has got an idea that there's a lot of Western Australian younger guys who haven't seen a lot of Melbourne. So we might go to a museum, or we might visit the MCG we've done. So he wants to familiarise.
The reason I asked that, we used to go across 2 days prior, and our conditioners used to say for every hour of time difference really is a day there. So we would go across on Thursdays and spend sort of the whole of Friday there and play Saturday nights, and we have a reasonable record over that way. So I just thought, is that something that's sort of come in midway in the season, or has it been there all year?
No, it's coming. I think just before halfway. But yeah, we do everything from hydration testing to coming in early. We do as much as we can.
Chris was now speaking about away squads, taking certain players that play better away. Aren't you making it too big an issue, so that it's really becoming a bogey rather than just one of the issues that has to be dealt with, along with so many other issues in playing footy?
Yeah, well, maybe you're right. As we said before, I think as soon as we win that one game, it might start to steamroll. We might learn to understand what it is to win away. So I'm just hoping we can win that one away.
Crack that
one more chance.
Yeah.
One more chance.
I've got a big question for you. Would you wear the white boots that everybody seems to be wearing at the moment?
I'm very happy with my Nike boots at the moment.
Nice play.
You didn't have a great game yesterday. You wouldn't have wanted to be in white boots yesterday.
No, I wouldn't. I didn't have a very good game yesterday, and no, my away record hasn't been very good either. But I wouldn't have wanted to wear the white boots.
What did Chris say to the team after the match?
I was just very disappointing. I think we went too far out of it during the game, I think, and it was just really disappointing not to get that away win again. So I just can't wait for it to happen. Yeah.
What's the best thing about playing footy in Perth as opposed to the footy in Melbourne now? What do you think is the best thing about being over in Fremantle?
It's a great crowd. It's a very, very loud crowd. The Fremantle supporters are very passionate about their football, and it's good to, after them winning 2 games last year, now we've won 8 this year. It's a huge influx of people now coming to the games, and we hope that builds and makes Subi a big house of pain.
Your younger brother Cameron plays for the Oakley Chargers here. He'll be in the draft later this year. Any advice for him?
Yeah, Cam, we're always joking around. I've got Mum and got two brothers, Hayden and Cam, and Cam's the youngest coming through, so hopefully he plays at Freo, or I don't know where he'll play.
He was a pretty handy state sprinter, wasn't he? He would be very attractive for some clubs in the draft.
Yeah, look, he's 6'3". He was an ex-state 100-metre runner, and you know, I suppose clubs like those taller type, faster guys.
Just getting back to your move to Fremantle, there was that, well, it wasn't controversy, but there was an issue with you posing in front of a car, and here, when you were here with Hawthorn, it just seemed to be a distraction, and people seemed to think, well, this bloke's in it for the money and not for the footy, and it obviously made it a bit difficult for you. Not saying that that was correct, but it made it difficult for you. Has the move to Fremantle given you a fresh start, mentally?
It has, but again, there's that added pressure of being a Melbourne person come over to Perth now. I'm there with Jeff Farmer, with the two Melbourne recruits, and Luke McFarlane, who's also breaking in, Troy Simmons as well, and sometimes, you know, you don't progress as fast as what people think you can. It's a very big move, leaving your family and your friends, but and the more we play together, I think yesterday we had 12 players under 22 on the field, so as we play more together, we'll grow stronger.
Joe, I'll chip in here. Crowdy, are you a better player now than you were at Hawthorn, or do you think this year will be the year that you sort of grow into the player you're going to be?
Well, you know, I'm not sure about when I'll peak. I've just turned 22 this year, so I think as I mature with my body a bit later on, I suppose around 24, 25, most players, you'd be able to tell me when most players start to peak.
What about 30?
30, is that right?
I don't think I ever came good, to be honest.
Don't talk to a man who's never peaked.
No, never peaked. Is that right?
One other issue during the week is an issue that just doesn't ever seem like it's gone away. It's like the plague. Where is Wayne Carey going to end up? Speculation continued to spread this week. Now, if you believe the taxi driver or the pizza man, he could be off to Richmond, Hawthorn, Essendon, Sydney or Adelaide. Now, yesterday on Sports Watch, Kevin Sheedy put an interesting case forward for Collingwood and how the Magpies could find a little loophole to fit him into their bulging salary cap.
I tend to think Collingwood's in there very quietly.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
They've actually said they weren't for a while. You reckon they've got their hand up as well?
Oh, look, you never know with Eddie, do you?
You told me that you thought he might go to Sydney at one stage. Are you still...
Well, I personally think that, but, gee, I just think it's too quiet at Collingwood.
Gee, you're trying to tell us something. I'm slow on the uptake with you sometimes, but I'm trying to get the message.
Well, I mean, look, gee whiz, be easier to put him on the footy show and give him a fantastic contract, wouldn't it? And all of a sudden, it's not a hell of a lot of money in the Collingwood salary cap. There's a lot of ways you can get Carey.
Well, Patrick, what did you think about that? I mean, Eddie Maguire blew up about it, as usual.
Oh, look, I think Kevin's an expert in dealing with every issue other than the one that's directly in front of him. And the one that's directly in front of him is trying to get into the finals. So I think that this is just Kevin Sheedy byplay, which he's an expert at.
But where do you think Wayne will end up? I mean, it has been discussed ad nauseum.
Yeah, look, I think that Adelaide looked good until he went there and he found all that media exposure when he got to Adelaide, and I think he felt, what am I'm going from Melbourne to this, I don't need it. So I think Sydney is suddenly becoming very a real chance now, especially because I think they've got good employment prospects for his wife.
Trent, is there room in the Dockers forward line for Wayne Carey next year?
Certainly, I'd love to have him at that Fremantle. Yeah, if you can fit him in, that'd be great.
And would he be happy with the 7-minute rotations that has?
I think he'd run his own shop. Yeah.
Well, one of the other big issues of the week is Carlton. I mean, it's been discussed ad nauseum as well. John Elliott, is he in trouble?
He's in deep trouble, John Elliott. And I think that Carlton were fantastic yesterday. They regrouped and pushed Port to 9 points or something like that. But had they had a similar humiliating loss as to the one they had against Collingwood, I think that Wayne Britton may have been sacked. Yesterday, yeah. I think the pressure was building.
As a scapegoat, someone's got to go.
Yeah, well, I think Elliott's got to be seen to be doing something. He calls them lunatics, but they're actually members.
So you're saying yesterday it could have been Elliott or Britton, one or the other, would have been Britton.
Well, I think it would have been. It could very likely have been Britton. Because, see, John, this is fascinating. John, at half-time in the Sydney game in round 17, John sacked 2 administrators at half-time. They're back at work now, but that's how he works. Something was wrong against Sydney, so he just sacked 2 senior administrators at Carlton, and behind the scenes they're now back at work. But that's pretty erratic behaviour.
Well, it certainly is for the head of your operation, your corporation. It's not what you need. I mean, you need stable sort of background. But the question is, like, who's going to take over if Britton goes? There's not a lot out there, really.
No, I think the catalyst is the if they get this election. and they've got the signatures, and once they go to a spill, I think lots of people will then be prepared to put their hand up. But just a battle at board level, I think that wouldn't work. The key is the spill.
Well, there'll be plenty of columns in it anyway, Patrick.
Absolutely.
Trent, thanks for joining us, and good luck. We hope you do get that away win soon.
Thanks for having me.
All right, and thank you to too, Patrick. Absolutely. Well, as we've discussed with Trent this morning, interstate travel is one of the biggest challenges facing the modern AFL footballer. This afternoon, Essendon makes the journey to Adelaide to take on the Crows. But for at least one Bomber, the former football park is a happy hunting ground. 10 years ago, veteran Paul Salmon kicked a bag of 9 goals in a 44-point win for the Bombers. I'm sure we're seeing a lot more of the same this afternoon. No pressure, Fish.
Can he kick his 8? He has. Salmon again on the lead, and a good stretch. High drop punt, he's kicked it pretty well. Looks a goal.
Side goes to the square, Salmon, and he kicks a goal.
Pull back. Kick by Salmon, goal.
For the first time since Pretty Woman, Julia Roberts and Richard Gere are together again.
Will you marry me?
She's been to the altar 3 times before.
Where's she going?
And just before the I-dos...
This man is heartbroken.
She's out of there.
She's afraid of the wedding night.
Some movies can make you laugh, but only one movie can make you fall in love again and again and again.
Lock the doors!
Tonight, the big premiere is Runaway Bride, only on 7.
Broke my windscreen.
Broke my windscreen.
Woe is me, what shall I do?
Simply phone us. Instant Windscreens.
Instant Windscreens fit windscreens, side and rear glass to all types of vehicles. Install van windows and even apply window tinting for cooler driving. All work is fully guaranteed, and with Instant's innovative repair it, you may not even need a new windscreen.
Instant Windscreens is our number. 132 444.
What does it take to conquer the world?
9, 7, 6, 6, 5, 10, 7, 6, 27.
Wheat-Bix, high in energy yet low in sugar, and official breakfast of the world champion Wallabies. How many do you do?
Girls, here's your new uniform.
Saddington. Look.
You're kidding?
Lunch, boys.
None for me, thanks, Mum.
Oh, don't be silly, dear. It's Campbell's Country Ladle Soup. It's 97% fat-free. Just like I make at home, dear.
Hey, Plugger, you keep eating that country ladle, you could fit camper shorts.
Country Ladle from Campbell's. It's all good.
He won't be in tomorrow.
Now Codral controls your cough, as well as cold and flu symptoms.
I'm the boss of
Good morning, Larry. I'll just...
I'm the boss of the ceiling, but I'm the boss of...
Soldier on with Codral.
Mom,
Yes?
where are you driving horse?
I've got to go. I'll send it to you, okay? Do you mind faxing this to this number? Homework.
Terrific, fighting back as Kuntz. Here's a great go, 200 to go. Terrific coming in superimposed. Terrific doing better on the Melbourne Cup, and Terrific is going to win the cup. Terrific gets up to win.
I've run the right horse, the best stayer, and he's won.
A very emotional, not to mention stylish young Shane Dyer after winning the biggest race of his life on Terrific in 1989. Well, before we welcome him to Sports World, with me on the panel this morning, Russell Mark and Dale Lewis.
Joe would still be here. After getting back after the Com Games, I never thought I'd make it back.
Ah, you're doing fine. Well, during the 1990s, he rode an unprecedented 4 golden slippers in a row to ensure his place in Australasian racing folklore. Now based in Hong Kong, Shane has made a flying visit to Melbourne and has found time to join us from Crown Towers. Welcome, Shane.
Good morning, everyone.
Now, you've come back just for the one race this afternoon at Flemington on Dash for Cash. Why did you come back?
Well, I've had 2 months off because we get 2 months off in Hong Kong and then it's back to work, come tomorrow actually. So I had to come here last night for the wrestling with my son. He was very keen to see that show, which was very good, mind you. And I didn't really want to see it. It was him. All fathers said that last night at the show. And Emma, my partner, her friend owns Dash for Cash and she asked me if I'd ride it, so I said yes.
Shane, just judging by the haircut, mate, you're struggling to make the weight?
Yeah, actually, I put on a bit of weight. I'm about 5 kilos overweight, which I have to come off in the next 2 weeks.
Mate, a rumour has it you've been chasing wrestlers around Crown Casino for 2 days. What's going on there?
Oh, well, of course, my son's 11 and he loves them, so I've had to find every wrestler. 6:30 this morning after a very late night, because the show didn't finish till about 11:30, and by the time you get back and you're still trying to find wrestlers and go to bed, he was up again at 6:30. And we found The Rock. No one could find him, but he got his photograph with The Rock and talked to him, so he was very happy. So I'm one happy dad that I could do that for him.
I didn't think that Rock would be able to hide anywhere, to be honest.
He's huge.
You've done well. Shane, can you just tell us a little bit about the difference between racing in Hong Kong and back here in Australia? Is the standard much different?
It's the betting. Hong Kong's very much betting. Hong Kong relies on the betting because the Hong Kong Jockey Club runs the hospitals, all the tax turnover goes to the hospital, the schools, everything. So it's very vital, whereas in Australia it's privately owned.
Shane, what do you think that we could learn for our racing industry off the Hong Kong racing setup?
Look, you can learn everything. They run their racing far better than we run our racing here. I've got no doubt about that. I think the officials in Australia need to go there and look at the way the racing is run. We don't work as a body in Australia. We're very separate. Each club fights against other clubs, New South Wales against Victoria, and I think it needs to be addressed. It should be run as one. I also think that racing needs big pools and big jackpots like Lotto, and we don't have it in Australia, whereas in Hong Kong we have triple trios and different type of betting, and you get pools of up to $200 and $300 million. And I think if you have a big jackpot here on different races somehow through triple trios, it would create a lot of good interest in racing and bring racing to the light again.
Do you think we also need an off-season back here?
Sorry, what was that, Joanna?
Do you think we also need an off-season? Like you mentioned that you've just come off 2 months break. Do you think we need to have that sort of system here in Australia?
Well, there's no doubt there's too much racing in Australia. You can ask anyone that. It's just too much. But Hong Kong's a bit different because it gets too hot. And we only have 1,200 horses in Hong Kong racing per year. So they have to have a rest, and it's just too hot to work and for them. Whereas here the weather's better and there's that much racing that they can support it. But there definitely needs to be a quiet period, because any sport that has been successful throughout the history of the world has a break. There's no doubt about that, and racing's one that doesn't.
Shane, the Spring Carnival, a horse that will create a lot of interest is Helene Vitality. What can you tell us about it?
He's a very good horse. He's a one-paced horse. He's a funny type of horse, whereas he can't quicken a lot. And if he gets in trouble, he can't get out of it. He doesn't like wet tracks, but in saying that, he's very, very tough, and he just keeps getting to the line. And unfortunately in Hong Kong, we don't have 2-mile races. The furthest we have is 2,400 metres. So he's going to be suited in Australia.
Shane, you had a chance to ride in both cups back in the spring?
No, I was originally riding him, and then I don't know what happened, but I was right. Oh, that's right. I was riding a horse called Indigenous, and I couldn't ride him. And Dwayne Dunn has been riding him, and I'd suppose Dwayne would come back here and ride him.
So are you not? I mean, will you come back for Spring Carnival? You've got what, 92 Group 1 Australian winners. Are you going to go for that magic number of 100?
I'd love to. Look, there's nothing better than the Melbourne Cup and being here in the atmosphere. Melbourne puts it on so well, and we really don't have that carnival atmosphere in Hong Kong as you do here in Australia. And there's nothing better, but there's two things. I've got to get a good ride in the Melbourne Cup, so if anyone's listening out there and they want to put me on. And another thing is I've got to get permission from the Hong Kong Jockey Club, and it is up to them. I'm contracted to them, and what they say I do.
Do you see that as being a real issue, though? Could you see them actually saying no?
Well, it all depends on my rides on the day in Hong Kong also. See, last year I only had 3 rides on Melbourne Cup Day in Hong Kong, and they weren't that good, and on the Saturday I approached the committee and they granted me leave so I could come here to ride Spirit of Westbury, which was fantastic, and I had a great time. And it's just a huge buzz being part of the Melbourne Cup. It's very unique, but Melbourne is very unique because you get behind all events like the wrestling last night. There was 58,000 people there in the atmosphere, and I was here about a month ago to the Mundine fight, and it was just chocker, and the atmosphere is something Melbourne people, Victorians, should be very proud of, I should say, because it doesn't happen anywhere else in Australia.
Shane, just going back to the wrestling last night, did you smell what The Rock was cooking?
Oh, yeah, at the end. It's so well done, and it's just amazing how a show like that, where it's all acting, believe you me, we were ringside, and I'd be amazed if anyone got hurt, but it's very entertaining. It was 4 hours of sheer entertainment and full on, and actually I did enjoy it.
Well, Shane, thank you so much for joining us on the show this morning. Good luck this afternoon on Dash for Cash. We are going to actually be having a look a bit more about the wrestling this afternoon. We've got this morning we got a story with Paul, the fishman. I don't know if you saw him at the casino yesterday, and Adam Peacock's got a story. But for you, we look forward to seeing you when Channel 7 covers this year's Spring Carnival.
Thank you very much. It's nice being on your show, and if you watch the wrestling story, I think any field in Australia, sporting field or business, could learn from something like that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's great to speak with you.
Thank you.
Shane Dye there. Well, a big schedule of sport coming up on 7. In September, the World Cup aerials from Mount Buller. But this week, Mount Hotham in Victoria has been the scene of some of the hottest freestyle skiing action in the world.
White-knuckle thriller has begun, but the twists and turns are just beginning.
How long have you been playing me?
Monday, 8:30. He knows their plan will rock his nation.
Who are you working for?
I work for you!
He doesn't know what they're planning for his family.
Mom, you gotta come now! Kim!
Just 22 hours left to stop it.
Jack needs to be relieved of his command.
Every second counts. 24 continues Monday, 8:30 on 7.
Take photos with a Pixt-capable Vodafone mobile and email them instantly anywhere in the world. Pixt. Instant photos from your mobile. Only on Vodafone.
Every rugby enthusiast's prayer has been answered with the launch of Australian Rugby Companion, the game they play in heaven. With comprehensive information on players, past triumphs, rules and strategies. Available in good bookstores or for an autographed copy by Gordon Bray. Order online at www.sportswatch.com.au or phone 1800 889 992. The Australian Rugby Companion, the game they play in heaven.
I just learned some scary things from my vet. He said heartworms could kill Trevor. Just 2 fleas can cause an infestation. Intestinal worms can cause painful stomach aches. Then he gave me something to protect Trevor. Sentinel.
One Sentinel Flavour Tab once a month is all it takes to give your dog 3-in-1 parasite protection against heartworm, intestinal worms and fleas. Dogs should be tested for heartworm before use.
Ask your veterinarian.
Oh, please, darling, don't give me that look again. Look, I know it's a long way, but I will be home tonight, okay? Okay?
When my baby.
The
Kia Rio Runout is now on. The spacious 5-door Kia Rio with air, alloy wheels and remote keyless entry only $15,990 drive away, while stocks last.
Hey, can you move down a bit?
Tim? Frankie? Move over, Freddo.
Freddo?
Make Friday night a Freddo night.
Goal? Yeah. Oh, well done, mate.
He's done it and broken the Commonwealth Games record. Australia's gold medal. 2 gold medals for Arena Lashko of Australia. 19-year-old's going to win brilliantly.
To win a gold medal, I mean, it's unreal.
Tria's home and wins and creates some history.
This is so good, but I wasn't counting my chickens before they hatched.
Against the gold medal, the Australians are jubilant.
I never dreamed to win a gold medal.
Caleb with a flashing finish. They hit it. Caleb won it. It's a world record. It's a world record.
He's got it.
Superb. He's got the world record. Is there any limit to this man? That's the sealer.
You beauty.
Commonwealth Games record to Matt Welsh.
57.55, and that is it.
Jones hanging on. She gets there. Liesel's won it. This is Australia's night. They smash the Commonwealth Games record. They turn it inside out.
Oh!
Ogilvie is the gold medalist.
Some moments there from the 17th Commonwealth Games, an event highlighted by the brilliance of Ian Thorpe, the dominance of our cyclists, and uncovered some new stars of Australian sport. One of whom we're lucky enough to have us join us this morning on Sports World, dual shooting gold medalist Lauren Ogilvie. Lauren, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
How's your last week been since you've returned?
Oh, it's been a bit hectic actually. Yeah, it's just been a bit overwhelming. We got off the plane and it hasn't really stopped since then. It's been quite an experience actually. Just even going down to the shopping centre now has been an experience, living in Ballarat of course, so I feel really bad actually. Yesterday I went down the street in jeans and tennis shoes and I actually felt like embarrassed. I was like, I'm going to have to go a bit more dressed up from now on. So,
what do you think though with the chartered plane? I mean, that must be a little bit different for you to see how much we hype up our sports stars.
It was really amazing. But the funniest part about it was when we got there I actually thought, you know, I'll see if Russell and I can sit together on the way back, and they said, well, I'm sorry, you're actually sitting in business class and he's actually sitting up the back, because they actually said all gold medalists up the front and the rest of us up the back, and Russell helped me that much. I sort of was feeling really guilty. I nearly went and gave my seat up to the
nearly.
person.
She said she nearly went. Never at any stage.
How was it in seat 768D?
I was in the toilets at the rear of the plane. I honestly, for the first time, I really knew what the value of a silver medal was compared to a gold one.
Yeah, he was happy for me until that stage. Then he was a bit bitter, actually.
We'll get over it, don't worry about that.
Exactly.
Now, Lauren, of all Australian men you could have picked it, you're a beautiful girl. How do you end up with Russell?
Oh, well, I don't know. I might not have been in Australia if it wasn't for Russell, so in hindsight, you never know. No, just kidding.
And how does a beautiful girl like you play with guns end up playing with guns? Where's that at?
Well, I don't know. My first question would be, when was the last time you had your eyes checked? But no.
For a while.
No, I don't know. My dad got me started, and believe it or not, I was a tomboy when I was a kid, and just naturally fell into it.
Well, let's talk about your event in Manchester, because it actually went to a countback for one of your gold medals, and you looked like you were going to win it. You missed a shot, and then this man here pulled you aside and gave you some quick words. Love to know what he said. This is it here. What was he saying to you?
Look, honestly, at the time I really walked off. I missed a target that we really don't miss. I mean, it's one that you just sort of expect to hit. And when I walked off and I missed it, I just already felt like I lost it. You know, like even though I was just in a tied position, I sort of, you know, had that feeling of just giving up. And Russell came up to me and he definitely gave me a very good pep talk and sort of said to me, look, Lauren, it's not over until it's over, and if you're going to lose, at least lose fighting, you know? And he really pulled me together and told me, you know, sort of just said exactly what I probably needed to hear for me to really get a bit more aggressive again, which is exactly the way that I need to shoot to be able to perform well.
And we had a heavy mortgage and we really needed it.
So no extra pressure, but you did draw on some of your own experiences.
I was in exactly the same situation in Sydney. I was virtually 2 or 3 in front and ended up in a countback situation and went to a shoot-off, and I never regrouped myself. I had 2 or 3 minutes to think about the sudden death.
And that's a long time when you've got to just thinking with your own.
Well, it is, because all of a sudden you have negative thoughts, and I could see in Lauren's body language that she was beaten, and she needed all of a sudden to change all the negative thoughts back to positive. And you know, lucky enough, I was able to at least get a chance to have a word in her ear.
Well, it obviously worked, because you went ahead and you came through with the gold.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly the way I wanted to do it, but you know, happy that it was able to you know, go my way in the end.
How much training do you do for shooting? Because it's something that people don't understand. Apart from the psychological training, there is a lot of physical effort put in as well.
Yeah, especially for somebody of my size. I'm naturally quite small, so in order for me to really perform at a high level, I've got to be at least a little bit physically fit to be able to handle the recoil of the gun, as well as just the endurance of the day, because oftentimes we can compete over, you know, 12-hour days, and if you're not physically fit, you're not mentally fit, so that definitely helps us.
You look a little bit unhappy there when Russell gives you the old hip go on his shoulders.
I don't know what you're like when you're nervous, but I'm telling you, I was shaking that bad after the end. I thought my legs were about to fall off when they picked me up. I was just extremely nervous, but yeah, it was just a really thrilling experience, and yeah, happy that Russell was there to be a part of it.
Happy I didn't drop you.
Yeah, and really that too.
That's a safety tip for kids at home. Don't lift somebody up when they've got a shotgun in their hand. That's terrible.
Yeah, did you notice one of our managers ran up and took it off me straight away? He was obviously scared from my gun.
We mentioned on the plane about you being at the pointy end and Russell being down back near the toilets, but has there been any other sort of instances for you since when you've had all the welcome back parades?
Well, the hardest experience I've had to cope with was the parade in Melbourne, walking up Burke Street, I think it was, and I was actually on the crowd side and Lauren was beside me, and having all these little kids say, "Russell, Russell, can you pass this hat to Lauren to sign?" I mean, it's an unusual experience, one that, you know, I'm very proud to be a part of with Lauren, but it's for her, I don't think she really realises what she's done.
Yeah.
And it'll take a little while to sink in.
It is interesting that, because, I mean, coming from where you've come from, what do you think the biggest differences are of how we treat our sports stars?
Oh, I guess it's just hard for me to appreciate. I mean, in America, shooting, no matter what, is really put in the background. You know, we've had gold medalists before that have been quite presentable, you know, and really could do something within the media, but they're not given the opportunity because it's sort of shot upon that we shoot at all. Yeah. So being here, and obviously Russell's really paved a path for, you know, or I believe he has for our shooters, and so it's made it a little bit easier for me, obviously, coming in, because people are interested in what he's doing, and obviously being that I'm his partner, they're interested in sort of what I'm doing as well. But very much a shock. I don't really know how to take it. People say, you know, Lauren, and I'm like, oh my God, how do you know me? Like, it's really, really hard for me to actually, you know, accept people do know my name and, you know, are happy for me. And, you know, I guess I'm just so used to putting in the hard miles and training and just doing what I need to do. And I'm just proud when I win, you know, for my own, you know, for myself and for my family and those that have really helped me through, that it's actually hard to appreciate other people also appreciate what you've done for the country. And look, there's no feeling like it. I'm really, really loving it.
Lauren, we've got your gold medals here on the set. One of them almost didn't happen, did they? I mean, there's the skeet doubles. That was an event that didn't look like it was going to get underway until the last minute.
That's right. We've actually got Susan Natras, a Canadian shooter that actually is very, very good in a trap event, which is the event that Russell and Michael also shoot. And yeah, she came in the last minute, and she had a Canadian partner that was shooting skeet, and she said to make the full amount of teams, she would actually participate in the skeet event. And look, she shot in front of me, and it was just great. The hardest thing for me was when she was hitting them, she was getting so excited about it, and I actually wanted to get happy for her, but I'm like telling myself, okay, stay focused. So, but look, you know, she's done a lot for our sport, and you know, that just shows again where she's gone out on a limb to really help us, you know, to go further with our sport. And I'm sure this being the first Commonwealth Games, that the next one people will realize this event, so I'm sure more teams will actually show up.
Now, getting back to you, hi-ho. What's it like to hold the gold?
It's been that long since I've held one, actually.
And I've got a couple of other questions for you now. Was Manchester at altitude?
No.
Had you been drinking the night before?
I should have been.
So why were your hands were shaking? Did you choke?
No, I can't say I choked this time. In Sydney, I'd have to say there was a bit of a choke. This time I was beaten fair and square.
And you had your best result.
Well,
I mean, let's put into context your silver medalist.
Yeah, let's talk about me for a while.
No, I want to talk about the Prince. You're meeting with the Prince. What about that? What'd you say there?
Prince Edward you're talking about. He's a big keen, very keen shooter, but look, he said to me, there's a couple of brothers in line for the throne ahead of me. Is there something we can do? And I sort of laughed at the sort of price he offered me to sort of help him along with his career.
So Prince Edward is actually a wacky, zany type, isn't he?
He's a good guy, a very keen shooter though, as is all the royal family.
All right, well, thank you very much, Lauren, for coming on. No doubt we're going to see a lot more of you, and it was great to see you do so well over there in Manchester.
Thanks very much.
Not a problem. Well, as usual, the Commonwealth Games threw up its fair share of fairy tale stories, but it also featured some high drama. For England's favourite in the 100-metre sprint, it all ended in tragedy. In a lead-up to the Games, Dwayne Chambers was favoured to claim the mantle of fastest man in the Commonwealth. It all went horribly wrong, but this week he made a remarkable recovery.
A secure future can give you more choice in life. Ask about growing your wealth with Perpetual. Invest with Perpetual.
It's now our 10th week without rain. Doesn't look like the heat's going to let up just yet.
Super juicy corn cobbets, specially grown to be super juicy. So juicy they're simply bursting with flavour. Ah, McCain, you've done it again.
Hey, you know what happened to Robbo, don't you?
What?
Busted.
No.
Well, it wasn't too clever doing that work and not telling Centrelink, was it?
No.
Anyway, how's that pizza job of yours going?
Oh, it's all right.
To keep the social security system fair, you must tell Centrelink when your circumstances change. If you don't, you may be overpaid and you'll have to pay the money back.
Can I speak to someone about changing my details?
Support the system that supports you. Authorised by the Commonwealth Government, Canberra.
Just $14 a week, Foxtel brings you the best in entertainment. Subscribe to Foxtel now. Call 131 999.
If you think this bunker is big, we'll show you big. The House of Golf Giant Golf Clearance. Cobra Gravity Back Fairway Woods worth $349, now an amazing $199. Lightweight golf buggy was $49.95, now only $39. Save over 20%. Buy one King Cobra golf glove and receive a second glove at half price. The House of Golf. The City, Melbourne, Sandringham, Ringwood, Bansdale, Geelong, Frankston, Warrnambool and Northcote.
Hey, can you move down a bit?
Tim? Frankie? Move over, Freddo.
Make Friday night a Freddo night.
Value for money.
And that's what anyone wants in carpet. Not some cheap floor covering.
That's not us.
For real quality and value, you can't beat Carpet Court's exclusive Dynasty collection by Godfrey Hirst. The latest range of designer colours and styles, including Stainmaster 2. Hurry, only for a limited time and only at Carpet Court.
It's just one of those incredible deals.
We can't be beaten.
You'll see the difference.
Our difference.
Carpet Court. We are the difference.
All week, deep in the heart of AFL country, the talk hasn't been footy. It's been all about the hype and brash Americanism that is professional wrestling. Last night, finally, everyone was ready to rumble.
If you submit, what the rock is cooking!
A different-looking Colonial Stadium would stage the extravaganza. These diehards paid more than the average weekly wage to be part of it all.
You're in the minority here. There's not many females in there. How come you get into it so much?
They're good guys. I met the guys last night. They're just, why not get into it? It's fantastic. More women should support it.
The IQ test was on the other night. Does this devalue your IQ by just automatically coming to this?
Not really. We're just here to see the wrestling pretty much.
And
so,
our
yeah.
IQs are low enough that this doesn't really make any difference. I have with me wrestling's first time traveller. He's right from 1984 WrestleMania 1. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, it's good to be back from 1985. Hulk Hogan. Unfortunately, he's not wrestling tonight, I've heard, but all his glory days are in the past.
Are you at school or uni or anything like that, or you work?
Nah, I'm working.
Do you go to work like that?
No. I wish I could, but I mean, I sleep with the Hulkster every night. Hulk Hogan doing a cover.
What's he like in bed?
He's good in the ring and he's good in bed.
Unfortunately for him, the Hulkster didn't make the trip after he got pummeled last week by a brute named Brock Lesnar. But the fans didn't want to believe that he wouldn't play some part.
You wait, he'll be here. Hulkamania will run wild on the Colonial Stadium.
And what you gonna do when Hulkamania runs wild in Melbourne? Yes. You usually dress like this on a Saturday night?
Nah, just for tonight. Yeah. Only because you're around an environment where people understand that people know and say, oh yeah, grouse, I know you're trying to be. You walk out in the street like this, they'll kill you. You know what I mean?
Obviously your favourite Hulk?
Yep.
Disappointed he's not here?
Yep.
Do you think he's going to show up?
Yep, and he's going to whoop some ass.
Is that right?
Yep.
Whose ass?
Brock Lesnar.
Why is that?
Because he stinks.
Inside, Colonial's biggest ever crowd, over 56,000, was packed in and expecting anything. The night got off to a great start. That big dyed-haired bloke is Rikishi. He won his bout and got to use his celebration move, the stink face. There were power bombs, circus-type acting and plenty of fireworks. The biggest cheer was left for the final bout. In what they call a triple threat, Hulk Hogan's nemesis, Brock Lesnar, joined Triple H and the champion, The Rock.
WWE Undisputed Champion, The Rock.
The cameras had to stay off, but to let you in a little secret, if you care, Rock retained his title. You got a seat for your troubles as well, did you?
We sure did. Very expensive seat, but I think it was worth it.
How much was that expensive seat?
$750 for each of us.
What'd you think?
Loved it. What'd you think? I loved it. Yo, Joey.
I don't think Joey in New York can probably hear you right now, but...
You gotta yell real loud. Yo, Joey! Joey!
Guys, Hulk didn't rock up. Disappointed?
Little disappointed, yes. Little disappointed. 2 discs in his back's out apparently, but he'll live to fight another day. Brock, you'll get what's coming to you, man. We'll still do the training, say our prayers, and take the vitamins. And the power of the pythons will return.
So, dressed like that, if you'd known Hulk wasn't rocking up tonight, would you have gone to the Kylie Minogue concert instead?
There's a Kylie Minogue concert?
Yeah, over
Who's
in
Kylie Minogue? Brother. Does she wear bows?
Describe the night in one word.
Awesome.
Adam Peacock there making a brave excursion into the weird and wild world of the Global Warning Tour last night. Looks like fun, hey Dale?
Yeah, Rikishi, the stink face, a lot of fun. Actually, one of my ex-teammates used to use that move, I think.
You told me you had moves when you were growing up.
Yeah, I had a few moves. The pile driver, Year 7s at Ballarat High, I apologise.
Well, as we saw a moment ago, wrestling fever has certainly hit hard, and although he was unable to join us on the panel this morning, the big fish, Paul Salmon, made a beeline for the WWE Fan Fest, where he locked horns with another giant of world sport, Brock Lesnar. Now, this guy's the latest bad boy on the scene. Last week, he built a suitcase out of Hulk Hogan. Last night, he mixed it with The Rock. Let's see how fish goes with a man they call the next big thing.
Have you got out much other than you're so busy with all the fan frenzy stuff and in preparations for the big night? You managed to see much of Melbourne?
I have not. I've been out just to Crown, and that's it. Just did a little gambling, went to the mall and stuff, and haven't seen much of the city at all. But plan on maybe tomorrow just going out and doing a little sightseeing, relax before the big match tomorrow night.
You're a top amateur wrestler, Brock, so Yeah, how was professional wrestling viewed by you guys? Is it, did it have much credibility?
I didn't watch any professional wrestling until 1998, and the thought of any amateur wrestler watching professional wrestling was kind of taboo. When I went to my first live show, I felt the fans, I felt the electricity and the intensity. It was something that I wanted to be a part of. Once Kurt Angle broke the seam and started to become successful in this business, it kind of opened my eyes.
You want a shot at me, you snot-nosed punk?
When is this big fight between you and Kurt Angle, the two champions from amateur wrestling?
I believe me and Kurt Angle within the next 6 to 8 months.
It'll be my honor to kick your
Scary stuff, mate.
Yeah, it is.
Look at you. How dare you? I mean, you stare him down and I might hightail it out of there if you gave me one of those looks.
Yeah, I'm a very intense individual, so I mean, that's how I wrestled in amateur, and that's how I wrestle professionally.
Mate, can you give us a bit of an insight as to what it's like behind the scenes, backstage at the wrestling? Because just wondering if some of the aggro is sometimes transferred from the ring out the back in the locker room.
No, I mean, everybody's, it's just like any other locker room, pretty much.
So a lot of towel flicking?
Yeah, we're a great bunch of guys, and everybody's real likable, and everybody's, we're a fun group.
Welcome to Fight Club. This is your life, this is your life, this is your life, this is your life. It doesn't get any better than this. This is your life, this is your life, this is your life, this is your life. It is spending 1 minute at a time.
Where do you get your gear? Because we're pretty cut much the same, you and I, pretty big men. Where do you get your gear from?
Actually, my fiance does most of my shopping.
Oh, really? Had you heard of Australian rules football before you came to Australia?
I've watched a lot of rugby before. I've had some friends, so I kind of can relate to Australian football somewhat.
So you had no idea when you arrived you were almost as big as me here. Hey? This must be coming.
Don't get it wrong, I'm much bigger than you.
Oh, cutting. There is life after football for Paul the Fishman Salmon, finally meeting his match there with Brock Lesnar. I don't think that I would ask Brock Lesnar where he got his gear from.
I would have thought for sure the Fish and Brock were twins. I mean, seriously, the physique was so similar. I think we need to have a bit of a comparison.
Yeah. Remembering that Fish is 6'7" and a fine male specimen.
Have you ever seen neck muscles like that guy's got?
No, in a word, they are huge units. Well, in keeping with the theme of extremely large sports stars, our next guest was the first Australian ever to be drafted into America's National Football League. After a career as a defensive tackle with the St. Louis Cardinals and Houston Oilers, he then took to the square circle as, you guessed it, a professional wrestler. It's very good morning to Colin Scott. Welcome, Colin.
Good morning, Joanna. Good morning.
How on earth does a boy who played rugby in the Australian schoolboy side go over and all of a sudden play in the NFL?
Well, they said if I look that crazy without a helmet, Joanna, they should put a helmet on my head. So just very fortunate, actually. It all started through rugby, and very fortunate that Coach saw us playing rugby when playing against this US team, and they said, let's give him a chance. And it was, basically a dream, what every kid dreams about doing. And
did you dream about doing it? I mean,
funny enough, I think as kids we all dream about the Miami Dolphins and the Dallas, the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, of course. But no, you think about it just quickly. But no, it was a fantasy, and very proud to be the first one to do it.
Cole, getting onto the book, All Balls. They said an Aussie couldn't make it. I would suggest it took some balls to title your book All Balls.
Well, absolutely, mate. I want to tell the truth. That's the whole theory of it. It's a state of mind, mate. I really want people to understand what actually the sacrifice and, what actually went on going into the heartbeat of America. It was an incredible journey. And then the bottom line is my Australian characteristics really what kept me through, the ability to be able to laugh at myself. Durkee was very important. And, going to America, mate, and playing in the NFL and their sport and being an Australian on top of it, it was an incredible journey.
You mentioned in the book, and I guess we can talk about it publicly because you have said it, you actually used steroids on 12 occasions. Was that a common thing back then?
Absolutely, mate, and it was a weakness on my behalf, yeah. And during the 80s, Russ, you got to realise it was definitely no pain, no gain, as big as you can be, and drugs were abused and steroids was abused.
Was there any drug testing?
Not as much, not as it is intense today. It's definitely dropped off, but in the 80s it was out of control, and yeah, I did my silly amount, just what I did was actually just make you completely aggressive on the day of the game, which I really didn't need anyway. I was already pretty psycho. I get very intense before a game. And
but if you didn't take steroids, did you believe that you were giving something away to the opposition? Is that the sort of mentality?
That's a great point, Ross. The reality was, yeah, I never took steroids to actually gain weight or strength, and it was very difficult working my butt off. And the guy next to me puts a needle up his butt, and the coaches praised him for being so strong and all the hard work. When I was doing all the hard work, just struggling to keep up, and it was very, very difficult when you saw the results these guys were getting. But you know, a lot of my friends some have dropped dead from the consequences of doing it. And you know, now more than ever, we're really understanding what the consequences are of taking something like steroids.
Scottsy, the kangaroo hop. Tell me about it. It's huge.
Oh, thanks, mate. Yeah, original act. The coach thought I trod on a nail. As you can see, it looks like I trod on a nail. Oh, you might as well do something, mate. And I was very proud to be an Australian over there. So, you know, when the camera's on you, like right there, you do something. And, you know, I just decided to hop, and next you know, the crowd started loving it, and had my big following to do the roo hop, mate.
Mate, the word from the kangaroos, they're a bit disappointed. That's not a very good hop. You're up and down the one spot.
With all that gear on, it's the best hop I could do, mate. Trust me.
Colin, give us an idea. Like, when I read the book, I was surprised at how much, like, the physical intensity and the testing and the professionalism that went on from when you went to, first of all, the Uni of Houston and then into the Pro League. Right. We don't have any concept of it here, do we?
No, Joanna, the reality in America, the training, there's a brawl inside the team, and people don't realise that inside the actual squad of a football team in America, there's 120 guys, and we're fighting every day just to get that position to play on the weekend. And not a lot of people realise that. And there was most of the injuries, most of all the mistakes, everything in training, it was just so intense in America. People don't realise, they can't comprehend what goes on inside of training inside America. It's a big brawl before you even get to play the game. You know, in rugby, you take it easy and you play the opposition. In America, you're fighting every day just to be able to play on the weekend.
What was the worst thing that happened to you?
I think the lowest point was when I snapped my Achilles, I think. Didn't warm up enough, and bang, that was the end of my career. And I was very fast, and once I lost my Achilles, I lost my explosive speed, and that was the end of my career.
Darren Bennett has made a name for himself here with San Diego as a kicker. You're a tackler. Were the tacklers, did they look down upon the kickers as wimps?
Oh, that's you know, what Russell let me make is very clear. What Darren Bennett is doing is incredible. He'll go down as one of the greatest punters in the history of the NFL.
But you've got all the injuries. Darren will retire relatively injury-free. Have you still got any injuries that you carry?
Yeah, and I'm very proud to say I was the only one that actually played a positional player, mate. And don't kid me, there are football players and kickers, and there's always a bit of a rivalry between us. But yeah, I respect what they do. But yeah, I was the only one that really was on the front line and got my, put my nose in the mud. But don't kid yourself, what Darren Bennett's doing out there is amazing.
One thing that surprised me in the book is that you constantly refer to the fact that the life expectancy of an NFL footballer is 53 years of age. Now, you're going to get 52 years of age, so you're at, what, 39 now. Do you actually look at your life and go, okay, I've got a couple of years left?
Yeah, I really do. It's unfortunate. It's reality. Joanna, the reality, because I'm a big man, your heart is a muscle, and being a big man, it wears it out, having to pump all the blood around. But I've been lucky enough to stay in shape. For a lot of guys, they put on weight. They just abuse themselves, and to be honest, smashing your brains against a brick wall 50 times a day doesn't do us a lot of good. I've had a lot of major concussions. Yeah, it is terrifying, because if the average death is 52, that means, and I've already lost a few friends already. It's amazing the abuse we take.
Scotty, just the Australian thing.
Scotty, I love it.
We go back. We go back.
Scotty, the booger man. Now, the party atmosphere, like here, we get together, have a beer after, whether we play sport, play footy, soccer, whatever else. Over there, it's not that. The culture's not it.
No, it's a great point, Dale. The saddest thing, and I'll make this very clear, Australia, you know, after any game, you've always got to put in the effort and have a few drinks afterwards. In America, unfortunately, win, lose or draw, there was no get together afterwards. I always found that very frustrating. You know, compete, kill each other, but at least have the time to enjoy each other and have a laugh and have a cheer and learn about each other and talk more than just football. But the American psychic and their formula is there's no time to stop and relax, and I found that very frustrating. And we've got to keep getting away from the game, talk to each other, meet each other, then go and play.
And the Thunder from Down Under, what was his special
The blunder
move?
from Down Under.
What was his signature move?
Yeah, the crocodile death spin, Daryl. That was the classic, yeah.
Was that when you broke your back? Was it doing the crocodile death spin?
Really? No, they said get a finishing move, the crocodile death spin. But don't kid yourself. I got some serious injuries in wrestling, and I really respect what they do. I was out there last night. You know, they're incredibly tuned athletes. They're stuntmen. They're amazing.
Just really, really briefly, having a look at the pros and cons of professional sport, and it's where our sport in Australia and every code is heading. What do you think that we should take, take as a warning?
The warning, I think, is simple, is that we've got to keep the passion and some tradition, and when professionalism comes in, unfortunately it brings the worst out of everybody. And you see rugby stood the test of times 100 years without going professional. We've got to keep the characteristics and the passion. Be out there because of the pride of wearing your badge and the pride of having fun, F-U-N. It's quite simple. Unfortunately, we get caught up in statistics and money. We forget that we are out there for a game and compete and be passionate. And professionalism, it just goes the deadly road.
Yeah. Well, Colin, thank you so much for joining us on Sports World. We hope that All's Balls sells an absolute storm. Hope you're not eating breakfast when we keep saying that. But appreciate you being here on Sports World.
Absolutely, John. And credit to yourself. You're a talent.
Oh, thank you. The sport on Sunday doesn't stop with Sports World. Stay tuned this afternoon for the undisputed heavyweight champion of Australian sports broadcasting, Bruce McAvaney, and Sports Watch.
Remember that? 6 months ago, Australian gold medal hope Jackie Cooper crashing out of the Winter Olympics. Now she's on the comeback trail, and we check her progress. We also speak to the President of Soccer Australia, Nick Greiner, about how to fix the mess that Soccer Australia is in.
What were you smoking when you agreed to get involved with this?
Plus all the AFL and NRL scores as they happen.
This was the moment Seven's Quizmaster gave away the single highest prize of any Australian quiz show. $750,000. Not bad for an hour's work, eh? Quizmaster, returning tonight on 7.
Looking for quality ski clothing at greatly reduced prices? Well, here it is. The huge ski wear sale is now on at Melbourne Town Hall. $500,000 worth of stock must be cleared. You won't believe your eyes. Top brand names, latest winter fashions, all heavily discounted. Why buy retail when you can save big money on quality ski clothing? Before you take to the slopes, take to the huge ski wear sale, now on for 4 days only, Melbourne Town Hall. Sale ends Sunday. Hurry or you'll miss out.
The Retrovision annual spring clean out is now on, so you'll really clean up with great deals on all the big brands, like the Samsung combination VCR and DVD player down to $649, and the Simpson 402-litre fridge is only $995. Clean up with a Hoover 7-kilo washer down to $735, and we have vacuum bags to suit all makes and models. Hurry in for the Retrovision spring clean out and you'll clean up.
Every day is like a marathon, so if you don't eat right and don't feel 100%, Centrum can help. Centrum with 27 essential vitamins and minerals. I use Centrum. It's even used by the Australian Institute of Sport. Try Centrum. Do you feel 100%?
So, what do you do for a living?
I work for TXU.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So you supply homes and businesses with all the gas and electricity they need. That must give you a pretty good feeling, you know. So, what do you do for a living?
I work for TXU.
TX who?
Every rugby enthusiast's prayer has been answered with the launch of Australian Rugby Companion, the game they play in heaven. With comprehensive information on players, past triumphs, rules and strategies. Available in good bookstores or for an autographed copy by Gordon Bray, order online at www.sportswatch.com.au or phone 1800 889 992. The Australian Rugby Companion, the game they play in heaven.
The huge ski wear sale is on now at Melbourne Town Hall. Why buy retail when you can save big money on quality ski clothing? Before you take to the slopes, take to the huge ski wear sale. Now on for 4 days only, Melbourne Town Hall.
This place is definitely a stroll through paradise.
Discover how beautiful the world really is when the all-new Great Outdoors returns Monday on 7.
Number one sport over there, and it's absolutely fantastic. You've got 40,000 crowd cheering all the time, whether they're against you or with you. It's just brilliant. And when you score, if you're home or away, you know, the crowd cheers, or if they're not, the whole stadium just goes quiet. It's just brilliant.
Arguably the most exciting talent in Australian soccer at the moment, Harry Kewell. Now, next week on SportsWorld, we launch the Premier League season with a special feature on the Australian Leeds United connection featuring Harry and Mark Viduka. Now, that connection only getting stronger yesterday with Paul Ocon and Leeds coming to a deal that will see the Australian at Ellen Road for the next 3 years.
What's
Becoming the
going
home
on
away
there?
from home. You've got Danny Milosevic as well. And
6 players, is that right?
yep,
We'll have it
Shane
Leeds.
Cancel-Sheriff.
We'll just be able to enter Leeds in our next World
I wish
Cup
I was
then.
a soccer player.
Oh, would you be good?
I'd be excellent. Scored a hat-trick at high school.
So today it's not only the AFL, but it's also soccer, wrestling. What else?
Basketball, cricket, golf, tennis. I can't remember. Bowls and probably shooting. If I had a crack at it, I'd probably beat Russell Silver.
Is gridiron the toughest football code? After listening to Colin then, is it tough?
Upstairs, Colin told me it was. So I believe him. Look at the size of him.
That is all that we have time for this morning. A very big thank you to all of our special guests in the studio, Lauren Ogilvie, Shane Dye and Colin Scott, and to WWE star Brock Lesnar. Look out, the Fishman is coming. Special thanks also to Trent Code, Dale the Boogerman Lewis, Patrick Smith, Roy Masters, and of course, Russell Mark. We'll see you next Sunday for more of Sports World. Bye for now. See you later.
Your ear piece fell out in the middle of that. That's why I started laughing at you.
Where's your microphone?
Russell Mark. Russ.
Ali.